Oh, I think I'm live now. Let's see. Hold for a few minutes, people. Okay, yes. We are live, and I just added the spy because that's what we're going to talk about today. But let's bring it up first because I mentioned to everybody today is quad witching. So it's actually not quad witching, it's actually triple witching. So let me just give you the term for quad witching so everybody knows what's going on. And then I'll explain the amount, the size of the options and positions that are going to expire today, which makes today a very risky, volatile day. Okay. First of all, quad witching refers to the simultaneously expiration 4 times a year of stock options, index futures, and index futures options, which are derivatives contracts. The fourth contract involves quad witching is single stock futures, which has not traded since 2020. So again, it's actually triple witching, but we'll call it quad witching. Typically, the market is more volatile. Key takeaways, let me just triple witching occurs once every quarter, the third Friday of March, June, September, December. Trading volume usually surges, which is why we might have more volatility. Today, I am going to speak about a few stocks. I rarely speak about any stocks, but I see some demand for certain stocks. So I'm just going to get to that first, and then we're going to talk about the SPY. And then I already talked about market manipulation. Actually, let's get right down to the market manipulation because this is bullshit. All right. We all know I had meta puts. I closed those out yesterday for over 100% gain. They went up an extra 150%. Now, here's the catch and manipulation with meta. Okay. Market closed yesterday, right before the market closed. Somebody, an institution, bought $2.5 million worth of Facebook or Meta call options, which expire today. So the market gets crushed yesterday, and someone's buying Meta options that expire today. Why would they do that? Holy shit, JP Morgan came out this morning and they gave an upgrade to Meta with an increased price target. So even though the market is ripping lower, Dow down 350 points pre-market, and this is one of the stocks I'm going to talk about, Meta is up 2% to 118.60. Chart looks so strong for pre-market. Volume is decent for pre-market. So what happened? JP Morgan front-loaded their Meta options, expiring today, came out with a price target increase overnight, right? Stock shoots up 2%. The Dow is getting crushed this morning, off 300 to 400%. It was off 400% at like 400 points at like 730, but Meta was up 2%, and Meta seems to be holding their own, and they were buying Meta at 8 a.m. So there's some manipulation there. Okay, next, Adobe, ADBE. Why? Because Adobe just came out with earnings. Adobe's up 5% pre-market. Now, what did Adobe do? I got a picture of it. Let me just bring it up. Hopefully, I saved the picture. Okay, here we go. So Adobe numbers, right? Earnings per share, $3.60 a share versus $3.50. So they only beat by 10 cents, which is like 3%. The stock is up 5% pre-market. Revenue came in exactly in line. They see quarter one, same thing. They're going to beat by about 2 or 3%. Yet the stock is up. The stock is up because everybody's earnings are going to suffer as interest rates go up. Capital becomes more expensive and it hurts earnings. So the fact that Adobe slightly beat, Adobe is going up. Most companies are not going to beat. And if they do beat, they're going to forecast out some terrible numbers. Okay. So that's things like, and yes, I'm going to get to the SPY today. I just wanted to speak about a couple stocks. So we got Adobe, we got Meta that I believe is being manipulated. All right. So let's talk about Apple. Apple's at 136.33. Pre-market, it was as low as 135. Why is that important? Because 135 has been a clear and solid base for Apple. So whereas everybody thinks the market's going to get trashed today and pre-market, it looks like it's getting trashed. I might be a little more apprehensive. Why? Max Pain on the SPY is 392. I will get to that information when I start speaking about the SPY. But again, Apple's had support at 135. So pre-market, it's trading down 136.31. It was as low as 134 and change this morning. So again, if Apple gets traded down, I'm going to look for support at 135. And if I find support, I'm going to go out a week and buy some Apple calls. Next, Walt Disney. All right, Disney, DIS. Again, I saw some support yesterday at $90 level. We closed at $90.49. Disney's actually up pre-market. So when I look at the Disney chart, I see volume. I see a bottoming. I mean, I really happen to like, if I was a long-term stock investor, which I am not right now, let's understand, I trade options, I swing options. But if I was a long-term investor, Adobe, Tesla, Disney, I would be in these stocks. More stocks to talk about. Okay, Carnival. Carnival just keeps getting dumped. I mean, I always thought 888 was typically the low for Carnival. That's the number that I had noticed. We closed at 863. I go back to the 1 month chart. Carnival's had support. I don't think it's going much lower. Again, if the market gets rocked by 10 or 20%, yeah, Carnival's going to $7. But if the market kind of stabilizes at the 383 level of the SPY, 380 all the way up to 390, maybe 380 to 400, something like that, Carnival will show some panache, let's use that word, and probably close above $9 by the end of the year. Another interesting stock, Plug, Plug. Why? Because 2 days ago it was ripping and it was up to like 16 something. And I'm like, why the hell is Plug up? Do they have any news? Not really. Let me check out the other EV companies. And yes, as Tesla was going down, all the other EVs were kind of holding their own. But yesterday they all sold off. Rivian, the Plug sold off. I'm sure Blink sold off. So again, Plug is down 1450. It was as high as 1650. You're still talking about 2 points, which is like 23% over a 2-day span. Again, anytime a stock gets pumped, and I mentioned Lucid on Monday got pumped, I think it was like above $9 or something to that extent. And I was like, okay, here's a short, here's an obvious short. And Lucid lost 4%, 5%, and 3%. So you're talking about 12% in a 3-day span. If you're trading options, that's over 100% return. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, Airbnb, when it was up at 105, literally 2 weeks ago, I was like, geez, I think I want to short this, but the volume looks so strong. But here's how Airbnb looks. So even with inflow, Airbnb went from 105 down to 90 pre-market. Yeah, it's sitting right around 90. Why am I talking about this? Because just like Disney, I actually think Airbnb seems to be bottoming a little. Again, if the market gets ugly and throws up on itself, I can't help that. And then my open trades right now are Moderna. Okay, so we look at the chart of Moderna. You could see heavy volume, heavy inflow 2 out of the last 3 days. Yesterday, volume was light and it was selling and the stock was consolidating. But what do I think Moderna is going to? Shit, I happen to think Moderna is going to $240 by the end of the year. I think it's going up another 20% by the end of the year. So these are stocks that I like to share. And then I see someone mentioned Tesla. Tesla does its own thing. Yes, but understand, you know who was buying Tesla? And I mentioned this in the high risk room yesterday, or the high roller room that we have on Discord. And if you want to join Discord, I'm sure you can find the link below. But Tesla, you know who was buying Tesla? Kathy Wood from ARK was buying Tesla. They bought 90,000 shares yesterday. Okay, Tesla finally had an inflow day. Understand that Elon was selling, I think, $3.5 billion worth of Tesla early in the week. So when I was short Tesla in puts, I was having a good return. Now, I mentioned yesterday that I saw some fishy shit yesterday morning with Tesla, where I saw some significant block trades that were kind of trying to sneak under the radar. This is shit that I realize or notice because I see patterns. And when I see a change in pattern or some type of disruption, all of a sudden you have something going through, I can tell that there was an institution buying. I didn't know it was Kathy. Did not know it was Kathy, but that is the truth. Okay, so I shared Moderna. Let me just see if I have any other stocks to share. Energy, UT. Okay, somebody mentioned UVXY. And why isn't the UVXY responding? It should be $11 a share. It's an ETF that tracks future volatility. Well, that's just it. The VIX tracks current volatility. The UVXY tracks future volatility. The VIX to me is more accurate on fear. The UVXY I've seen get manipulated. So I haven't traded that ETF, and I mentioned the other day, probably in 4 to 6 months. Okay, let's get right down to it. Let's talk about the SPY. Quad witching. Yeah, I covered that. US dollar support. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the SPY ranges. Okay, so you might want to write these down because we've hit a new level in the SPY. So I'm going to go from the bottom to the top rather than the top from the bottom. Okay, downside potential. If the markets get really crappy, 375, which is acted as support. Once we break 375, you have 378. Again, we're above that level. Next level higher, 381. Why is that important? Because 385 is the next level. And if 385, which has been major support in the SPY, so that's what you're looking for, 385. And as we talk about the SPY this morning, I think we're at 384 and change. Let's pull it up. We're at 383.81. Okay, so the market's obviously dropped since I started the live stream. But again, 383.81. Okay, so under 385, if the markets reject 385 when the market's open, All right, let's say the market's open, first 20 minutes of trading, and you see the SPY cannot break 385. If it cannot break 385, then 381 will be in play. So even though we're gapping down and you say, okay, we're at 383, 384 in the SPY pre-market, right? And I don't really care that much about pre-market. Understand that if it rejects 385 on the SPY, then we will see 381. And again, I just told you, next level down is 378. Do I think we'd see that today? No, again, because max pain in the SPY is 392. It's the complete opposite direction. Max pain in the SPY means the retail trader loses the most amount of money. The people playing options, again, there are $4 trillion worth of options that are going to expire today. $4 trillion worth of positions that are going to expire today. So yes, expect market manipulation. If you're talking about that much money being out there, then what do you want to do? Well, you want to get max profit. So if you want to get max profit, most of the options are put options. So we're seeing the gap down this morning. Now, when they close out those put positions, what do you think is going to happen in the market? Okay. They're going to try and push the market as low as possible. And then as soon as it reverses, it might take 10 minutes. It might take an hour. It could take 3 hours, or maybe it takes till 2 p.m. We don't know. But once I see the reversal and I see the confirmed reversal, I know what my strategy is today. My strategy is today to wait for the bottom, wait for people to sell all those put contracts, right? The puts outnumber the calls by a ratio of 1.79 to 1. So there's almost 2 to 1 puts versus calls. Max pain, that's where you get it from. Max pain would be if the SPY went up 3 points today rather than gapping down 4 points or 5 points at open. Okay, so again, we'll go over the ranges. I'm going to start from the top this time. We're not there, but you can write these down. 398, 395, okay? 392.50, which rejected a couple of times on Tuesday. Great time to get into put contracts. Okay, under that. Then we go 389. Well, shit, where did we close at yesterday? 389.63, right at one of the key inflection points. So the fact that we're gapping down this morning and we're under 385, because 385 has been major support. So we're sitting at 383 pre-market, which means the SPY is probably down. Let's see what is down. SPY is down pre-market 1.46%. Okay. So here's another thing you could tell. If you're in whatever stocks you're in and the SPY is down 1.46% and you're seeing your stock is down 4.5%, nobody wants your stock. If your stock is only down 0.5% right now, and I'll use my Moderna example, mRNA, it's only down 0.5%. The SPY is down 1.4 something percent. Let's see, what did I just say? Where is it? Oh, there we go. 1.46%. So I'm just going to check this out. Tesla's up 0.5%. Amazon, it's only down 0.5%. Okay. But you get some real movers. Let me just find a mover here. Starbucks 1.23, Upstart. Yeah, I mean, these stocks really aren't getting ripped. Even the very risky meme-like stocks like Carvana is only down 2%. I would have expected some of these stocks to be down 5-6% pre-market. So again, and U.S. steel numbers, material plays. I've mentioned them for a long time. Alcoa, AA, X, U.S. Steel, Cleveland Cliffs, CLF, or the industrials, which is XLI. That's the industrial ETF. These are all safer plays. So again, if you go back to the beginning of this video where I mentioned 5 stocks that look to be bottoming or industrial plays, if you must be bullish in the market, that is where I'd be looking. Truly, that's it. I wouldn't look anywhere else. You want to put me in Netflix, Roku, something more speculative? No. Do you want to put me in Lucid, Plug, Roblox? No. I want to be in something that looks somewhat decent. If I was going to use let's say a retail play, I would look at like Walmart, right? Walmart. I would look at like Macy's, okay? Because you have limited downside. Understand we're in the Christmas season and the retail people, you and me, ones that are using our credit cards, we're still using our credit cards. Do we care that our credit cards at 2,000 versus 1,000 or 10,000 versus 5,000? No, we don't. Shit happens. I'm going to lose my job. Okay, I'm still going to spend for the holidays. That is the retail consumer mindset right now. Spending has not slowed down all that much. So there are certain stocks that could be interesting stocks to play out through the end of the year. Somebody mentioned the Gap. I really don't like the Gap so much. I would rather be in a Macy's, but I'd rather be in best of the best. I'd be in a Walmart, something like that. Dollar General store, right? DLTR. I think it's at around 140 something. It likes to play head and shoulders up to 170, down to 140. So yeah, something like that might interest me. Okay, so again, SPY ranges. My strategy today, SPY was at 389. Okay, so we closed at 389. Sorry, I get sidetracked. 389 we closed. The next level down is 385, which we are below pre-market. So you want to see if we hold under 385, because if we do, then yes, there's a little more downside today because we could head to the 381 level. Now, if the market shows support at open, again, give it about 15 minutes. We're going to see a little of this shit. 15 minutes in, if you see 385 on the SPY acting as support, understand it is possible that we fill the gap that we gapped down to from the close yesterday at 389. Now, longer term, I'm going to give you both bullish and bearish scenarios. I've done this before, but I've been speaking about weeks. Even when the SPY was at 406, I said we could technically fill this gap right here. I think we closed, where was it? 378, and we opened up at 384 pre-market, and we shot right up. So again, there's this huge gap to fill right here. And I've mentioned this for weeks. And I said, I don't know. We always come back to fill the gap. So at some point, we're going to come back and fill the gap. And what has Romeo on our platform said? He was talking for about a week and a half as well. The SPY couldn't come back to the 385 level. Congratulations, Romeo. You nailed that shit. So did I. We filled the gap right here. So where can we drop to? Well, you're seeing support right here at 381. So when I mentioned 385 to 381, if it rejects 385, we could go down to 381. If it rejects 381, you're looking at 378, which is right about here. Okay. So again, more support. These are the key levels because you could trade in between the ranges. When you zoom in a little more, understand that a 3-point range on the SPY is pretty significant, as you can see right here. So again, that's why I suggest waiting and trading the ranges. Anybody that hops in between the ranges, all right, unless you have a crystal ball and you know exactly what's going to happen in the market, it's just too risky. Next, if you invest or buy options too early this morning, you're going to crush yourself unless you're going to be 100% correct. Understand, at market open, there's crazy volatility. So what's going to happen is you're paying for your option, whether it's a call or put. It's going to expire today if you're going Lotto Fridays, okay? Then when it's volatile like this, you probably could have gotten cheaper, not to mention between 9:30 and then you go to 10:30 the end of day, you're not paying so much for the IV. You're paying crazy much for the IV in the morning, especially before 10:30. I like to trade when the spread's narrow. Again, so I've mentioned some stocks. I've mentioned the SPY. I've mentioned quad witching. I explained quad witching, which is basically today $4 trillion worth of derivatives, futures, options, futures, contracts, other derivatives, options, contracts, all expire today. So there's heavy market manipulation. Why? Because you have the market makers. They're in there to make money for their institutions, for their banks, for themselves, the people that play big money that are single market makers. How do they make money? By tricking you into thinking the market's going to do the complete opposite. It's the same way when JP Morgan came out and they said, oh, the market can lose 20% in June when Jamie Dimon came out. And instead we saw a 15% spike. All right. So we've seen some craziness. Follow the trend. Oh, most important, follow the trend. All right. Do not fight the trend just because you have a singular idea. And I used to do this all the time. I'm like, I know I'm going to be right. I know the market is showing support here and it should go up. But sometimes I'm 2 days off or 3 days off. So please make sure you give yourself enough time. All right. I see one question here. It's about our Discord. Hey, Matt, I joined Discord. It seems see you very limited. I'm updated the app. I'm not certain what's wrong. Okay. So let me just tell you what we've seen in the past. Okay. When you join Discord, the first thing you do is you hit join, right? There's no credit card information needed. You verify yourself. It usually takes like 10 minutes after, and then you have access. Now, I have heard a select few people that said, I still can't see all the rooms. I only see the public 5 rooms, and we do a public live stream a couple times a week. But here's what you do. You actually have to log off of Discord, and then you have to log back on, and you should be able to see all the rooms. Now, the special rooms that I would refer to, I like the trading chat. Romeo has 3 rooms, including his live stream. Love, who is an accounting professor at a major university, is giving you tips and secrets on how to improve your efficiency. I mean, the combination, the crew that we put together is amazing. I give market direction, which is excellent because if the market's going down, you're not getting into calls until you find support. If I'm telling you there's support and you were looking at whatever stock, let's just say Disney, Apple, Meta, whatever options you're looking to get into, you want to have support first. And then we have a youngster on our crew, Tuki, who's 18, who calls the SPY incredibly well. He's always in for scalps, makes about 11 trades a day. To me, that is over trading. But the dude is securing profit. He's in, he's out 10%, 12%, 14% trimming. So if you're having a tough time in the market, please find the right Discord. If you're on a Discord or another server and all they're doing is giving alerts, buy this stock, sell this stock, buy this stock, sell this stock, you're not learning and you're going to end up in big trouble one of these days. So again, I would love to teach you to trade. I'm here every morning at 8:30. Please give me a thumbs up or make a comment. I'm here to help. I don't get enough comments on stocks and things like that. Yeah, Romeo's been on fire the past 2 days. Love, who started only trading SPX, started her account, I think, with $1,000. This week is now at 34 or 3,500, and she posts that. A lot of her trades are more in the high risk or high roller room where you have to be qualified or verified to join. Other information, nothing more. Quad witching, which is actual triple witching. I explained it today already. Be careful, $4 trillion worth of options and derivatives expiring today. Expect some wide movements. Don't fight the ranges of the market. Again, I'll tell you the SPY ranges that you need to focus on today real quick. 378 or slightly there under. Don't think we get there. 381, which could act as support. 385, which were slightly under pre-market, and then you go right back to 389, which is where we closed at yesterday. If somehow the market just shoots up ridiculously, you would look for it to reject 392.50. Those are the keys today. Quad witching bitches, which is actual triple witching. See you guys later. Have a great day. I'm going to